Dorset's Jurassic Coast. Here at the summit of Portland, by the Heights Hotel and the Olympic Rings, we look out along the magnificent Jurassic Heritage Coast. A holidaymaker's dream and home to rare wildlife in these clean, warm Atlantic waters of the English Channel, enjoyed by so many all year round. Tragically, this area of unique natural beauty has been hit by bad news that a planning application has been submitted for the construction of an industrial-sized waste incinerator, actually on the coast itself, here at Balaclava Bay on Portland. This proposed industrial development could burn up to 202,000 tonnes per year of RDF, which is basically black bin waste with recyclables taken out. The ramifications of this development will ruin our coastline. Add to the global climate change, damage the environment and affect all tourism related business throughout the area, and of course our vast array of wildlife. I was surprised to hear that Dorset Council was amongst the best county in England for recycling, at present just under 60%. With its waste management service contracted out to New Earth Solutions until 2030, who turn the non-recyclable waste into RDF and will be sending this to the newly built incinerator at Bridgewater. So as far as Dorset is concerned, we don't need this incinerator anywhere in the county, and if built could seriously affect Dorset's excellent recycling achievements. So where is Powerfuel going to get their waste to burn? To help understand the amount of CO2 emissions from this proposed incinerator, let's add a CO2 reader and start with the 202,000 tonnes annually coming straight out of the stack every day for the next 30 years. Powerfuel has quoted in the planning that approximately 72 lorry movements a day to comprise 25 RDF deliveries from Camford, Bottom Ash, which could be 10 lorry movements to Avonmouth, and 1 daily delivery of ammonia and lye within the Dorset area, plus all their return journeys. This will add up to the congested route from Castletown, Chesil Beach Road and Wyke Regis. Let's add the annual CO2 produced from these vehicles from their routes, which at present is not 100% confirmed. Remember, this is a 24/7 waste incineration process, and combustion won't be stopped or it will cease to be profitable. More importantly, we can expect some RDF waste spells will come by sea, probably the main reason why Powerfuel has chose this location. Powerfuel already has a letter of intent to be supplied by an RDF broker who sourced the RDF from across the UK as well as Guernsey and Northern Ireland, so we can only estimate the sea movements to Portland, as precise facts and contracts has not been provided by Powerfuel. As you see from the road supply and shipping, our CO2 meter is rising nicely, and remember, this is purely a private company making profit from burning waste and producing CO2 with nitrogens that pollute our atmosphere, which is proven, we all know that. How can Powerfuel justify CO2 emissions? They call it carbon neutral, or rather net zero carbon emissions, and to do this they offset their emissions and buy carbon credits. Example, fund tree planting. Over a lifetime of 100 years, one tree can only absorb around a tonne of CO2. That would be over 7 million fully grown trees over 100 years to absorb all this incinerator's emissions over 30 years. But this doesn't solve the local negative impacts at source. Air pollution affects human health now and the health of our unique ecology right now. Achieving net zero carbon emissions is just a fantasy. Manipulating carbon figures on paper will not stop the carbon emissions spewing out of Portland Stack at a rate of 23 tonnes per hour. Carbon credits are used around the world to absolve developers from polluting our atmosphere and allowing developers to make huge profits from adding to climate change. And that's just immoral. The more incinerators that are built leads to less endeavours to repair, reuse, recycle, and this needs to be stopped. We need to say no now. Powerfuel is justifying burning waste and polluting the atmosphere to provide power to the port for cruise liners. However, the cruise berth is so close to the incinerator site, how long would the cruise ships want to pollute their passengers and crews, as the air vents that supply the fresh air below decks are about the same level as the height of the stack. We don't need a waste incinerator to produce electricity for the cruise ships. This could be easily possible from the national grid with investment. Then there is the site chosen itself. As you can clearly see, the site is not big enough and too close to local residents. Businesses that rely on tourism, not to mention the unique topology of Portland, meaning the incinerator plume can affect the area visibly and years to come from a build-up of invisible contaminants. Also at night, this 24/7 industrial sized facility will be producing noise all night with lorry movements, barge operations and those huge fans in the building. And not forget the plume, which will be highlighted by the height light and the industrial lighting needed for a 24-hour operation. No planning application should ignore safety. No less than 300 fire incidents have happened last year at waste-related sites. As you see in this simulation, that even a small fire can produce a lot of fumes, which could affect the local residents and the entire prison, which possibly will need to be evacuated. Even access for the fire services would be hard because of the single access road to the island, not to mention the actual site offers nowhere for safe operation for the fire brigade to operate. Bottom ash removal, which is a daily exercise, can produce small dust clouds containing heavy metals such as mercury and cadmium. This can easily enter our coastal waters, and concerns about the lorries carrying this bottom ash out for our small roads past schools and built up areas. This is a photo of bottom ash being loaded onto a barge, and the dust plume can clearly be seen. Portland is not suitable for such harmful activities, if at all. It needs to be a vast industrial area with plenty of safety runoffs, but certainly not a small coastal area like Portland. Hopefully this video will explain why this waste incinerator is not needed anywhere, not just Portland.